Welcome to the Spurs News Podcast, your home for all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome back to a new episode of the Spurs News Podcast. I am Sam, like I always am, and joining me, like he always is, it's Matt.
What's your mate? Hey, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Tottenham won a game. We scored goals.
Yeah, shots on target as well.
That was the bare minimum. I don't know about you, but it feels like a real kind of famine and feast scenario. But the bonkers stat, and I know I'm stepping on you here with Matt's stats, but the bonkers stat is we are still the top goal scoring team in English football for 2022, even though we had 2 games in a row where we didn't even register a shot on target.
Yeah, well, we thought
Liverpool,
we could give guys a chance.
Man City, all these clubs that I see in my brain, they just hammer teams every week, and yet we've outscored all of them in 2022.
Yeah, that is insane, isn't it?
That's weird.
The thing is, like, it's we had those 2 odd games, the 2 B's games, but apart from that, like, you take them 2 out of the equation, and it would make sense, wouldn't it? But
no, you're absolutely right. If you, I don't know, it's almost like me and you were just trying to work out how or why and what the hell's happened for a couple of games. Obviously, I'm just delighted that didn't continue. We were much better. I do wonder, because I've talked about this a lot, and I do wonder about a mentality issue around the kind of, when you achieve where, we're a good team chasing, if this makes sense. Like, we were chasing 4th. We were not going to be able to get 4th, but we were chasing it. And the minute everyone fell apart around us and we actually got 4th, we fell apart.
Yeah.
And then we're back to 5th, and all of a sudden, hey, right, well, we got to sort this out. We need to be chasing again. And all of a sudden, we look good again. And I do think to myself, there must be something in that. There must be some sort of, when they all got 4th place, they went, oh, good, we're there.
Yeah, to be fair though, that's what the scumbags have done as well. They got there, didn't they? And then they lost 3 games in a row, and then they started chasing us, and they started winning. Yeah. It's like that kind of, it's whatever happens at the end. Let's hope that because I guess we are the ones chasing now. I mean, if we
are definitely. I mean, and I think I had a dream last night, man.
I had a dream.
Yeah, I had a dream. And in that dream, I saw us beating Liverpool.
Really?
I then woke up. But, yes, in the dream, we beat Liverpool. And we didn't just beat them, we actually beat them like 4-2.
So who scored? I mean, people have got their apps out now.
Son with 2, Kane with 2. And there was assists. I remember, this is really vivid in my mind. And the reason, and this is so stupid, right? I know that we won 4-2 from my dream. I know that Kane got 2, Sonny got 2, and they assisted each other, right? So this is how vivid my dream was. But the funny thing is, my dream didn't show me the game, didn't show me the goals or anything like that. But I've got an interview with Klopp going mental about the referee.
Oh, really?
Now, is it just...
It's quite detailed, Sam.
I know, but it's just kind of like... Anyone listening right now would probably think, if we were to beat Liverpool 4-2 at Anfield, right, which is nuts. It's just not even in the realm of spectrum. Even in my dream, I'm like, no.
Yeah, we beat Man City 3-2 at their ground, so, nothing's impossible, mate.
Nothing is impossible. Highly improbable, but not impossible. But the idea that Klopp would blame the referee does really... my brain just went, that happened.
It fits, yeah.
That would totally, it couldn't be him, couldn't be his team. He couldn't come out and go, clearly our schedule's caught up to us and Tottenham did well today. Klopp would have to come out with, the sun was in our eyes, the referee was biased, their players ran, not supposed to do that. He's a weird bloke, that, because he's got, when he was at Dortmund and he wasn't in the Premier League, Jurgen Klopp, I'd look at him and think, oh, he's a character, he's interesting. And Liverpool fans worship, and rightly, by the way, because he's done a phenomenal job.
3 Champions League finals, isn't it?
Yeah, 3 Champions League finals, 1 Champions League, a Premier League for the first time, and he's done for them. They, he can walk on water.
Yeah.
And so it's all fine, but he is, to me, from the outside looking in, he's so annoying.
Yeah, but do you know what? That's one of those things where the great managers, unless you support the club that they manage, they are really annoying.
Oh, but I never felt that way about Ferguson. Do you think it's because we were crap then? So like, I kind of like
it was like it wasn't even relevant to us.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't even in this like. Like Arsene Wenger is a phenomenal manager who did an amazing thing for Arsenal Football Club, and I can look at him and go, what he achieved and what he did to revolutionise the game in this country is great. Hate him. Hate the way he speaks, hate the way he looks, hate the way he walks, talks, everything about that man. There is an inbuilt hatred that, to be honest with you, probably isn't even that rational. But
yeah, I mean, if he was like successful, like anyone but Arsenal, we probably wouldn't have an issue with him. Maybe.
I honestly don't know. He's like one of those people I look at and just think, nope, don't like you. Which is bad. Boys and girls, we should all not judge people just on first glance. But yeah, I looked at him like, nope. But like Sir Alex Ferguson, when he was at Man United, like, yeah, it possibly is that because he annoyed everybody, I think. But me, I was just like, I like the fact he's just there to win. I like that about him because there's a very British thing of, oh, we showed up, we did jolly good to get fifth, didn't we? And every now and again you get a British competitor come along who's like, no, I'm here to win. And everyone's like, oh, he's a bit arrogant. I'm like, no, he's not a bit arrogant. He's just competitive.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, do you know, it's funny because, like, you know, you think of other sports and British players that are like that seem to never get, like, they're always sort of disliked. I mean, a couple that come to mind, you've got Andy Murray and Lewis Hamilton.
Disliked. Yeah, Andy Murray was disliked until he started losing.
Yeah, there you go, yeah, exactly. And Lewis Hamilton's another one, isn't it?
A great example. Yeah. Lewis Hamilton, it's like, oh, arrogant, up themselves, cocky. It's like, no, they are competitive as hell. Yeah. Bradley Wiggins, that one always came to mind. Everybody hated Bradley Wiggins, and then he sort of retired from being at the top of the game, and now he's a lovely personality that everyone likes. Got a knighthood. It's like, it is bizarre, but we as a nation love the kind of, oh, didn't they do well? Like, you know, Eddie Eagle Edwards. Oh, he's a hero. Didn't he do well? Like 12th.
Yeah,
that was his best
exactly.
Best ever was like making the top 10 once, and then you got these other people who actually win stuff on a regular basis. Bloody arrogance.
I think what
How dare they?
Yeah, no, you're right. I think what part of it is if I mean, I'm obviously just guessing, but it must be an element of like, I don't want to like you because I want to beat you. Like, you know, I want to be having millions and millions of pounds and driving fast cars around every day. So because I'm not doing that, I hate you for it.
Yeah, I was a bit like that with David Beckham for a long time. Right. Not so much to do with football, but a Spice Girl. Anyway, so we did beat Leicester 3-1. Were you at the game?
Of course we were, yeah. Had a fantastic time.
I was going to say, the atmosphere felt good.
Yeah, it was good,
It came over the TV, like, the fans went into that with a kind of, right, we need to sort this out. The players need to be aware. What did you make of dropping Kulusevski for Lucas? Because when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I think that's probably fair after the last two games. And then Kulusevski came on and went, oi.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Because me and Seb did this thing where we normally, it's weird how we time it, but we normally look at walking at the Seven Sisters, and then that's when it's about an hour to go before the game, which is obviously when they release the teams. So I'll always do the thing with Seb, with like coming in, you give me 11 and I'll look at it and see how close he is. And we had a feeling, like probably most Spurs fans, that there probably would have been a change or two. You know, you just felt like something needs to get mixed. So. And we thought, and I know I think probably it was because, I don't know if you mentioned it, but there was talk of, is it Livinier? Is that his name? The guy from the under-23s?
Yeah.
There was talk of him. He was he was training with the first team, and we was thinking, maybe going to give him a go. And then when you see Royale, you're like, because obviously
here we go.
Because he's been playing badly. But it was a surprise. Say it was a surprise. That wasn't the position that I thought was going to be replaced. Do you see what I mean? I know he's been looking tired at Kulu, but
it's interesting because we did lose the game to Brighton, but it was 1-0, and the best one in the world, sometimes a team can just score out of nothing, and you know, it wasn't. I think I said to you, our defence didn't play badly that day. Our midfield and our attack really let them down.
Sure.
And like against Brentford, our defence didn't play badly. It was 0-0. It was our midfield and our attack really let them down. So, I mean, when there was no change at the back, I wasn't massively surprised. I mean, right now, I don't think Emerson Royale should be playing. To be honest with you, I think it's just not working as a wing-back for Emerson Royale.
Yeah.
And frankly, I never saw a lot of him as a full-back that really inspired me, but right now it really isn't working. And but I mean, I'm gonna hold my hands up. I said that about Doherty a lot, but as a wing back, the minute that guy got his confidence, he's playing on the left, he's playing on the right. He's Matt Doherty. He's like, do you know what? You could be onto something there. Yeah. Why didn't anyone ever think of that before? But you know what I mean? It's just like I'm trying to be as objective as I possibly can and just say, right now, the guy's just not it. And there are other players there who I think could play as a wing back and do better. The one that surprised me, but yeah, sorry, to finish that, going forward, I thought that's where the change is going to be because we've not scored. We've not even got a shot on target. You don't drop Sonny, you don't drop Kane. So in my brain, I did think, well, Kulusevski. But for me, because it was Leicester, my money was on Bergwijn. All day, start Bergwijn, because if you're a Leicester player, you're looking at Bergwijn like, you.
Yeah, but do you think that could have the reverse effect? No, they're like, right, I'm going to get my bad revenge on you.
Well, it would have been interesting how many free kicks we would have got early in the game. You know what I mean? Like the first minute, you just see Bergwijn put up in the air by some Leicester midfielder who walks to the ref and goes, "That's a booking, sir." Yeah, I completely acknowledge what I did and I meant it. Yeah, I have no remorse. Please show me the yellow card. A bit like Romero anytime he hacks down a Brazilian. Yeah,
do you know,
that was a yellow, sir.
Yeah. Oh, do you know, we was talking about that, but you know, at the game, I think he got man of the match from Romero, didn't he?
He did.
Now, how often does a team win 3-1? One player gets 2 goals, yet the man of the match goes to their defender. Yeah. But honestly, Sam, just so deserved. That guy is just on another planet.
It was. You know what? We've had this conversation on the podcast a few times, and about Romero, where I've always tried to taper the kind of over the top enthusiasm, which I feel with a kind of, but there are mistakes in there, and he's improving and stuff like that. And then he had a birthday recently, and he turned like 23 or 24. It's like, and I looked at him and went, for a defender, he ain't even at his peak.
No, he's nowhere near it. He's like 27,
27, 28 is when you would see a defender at their absolute best. And I'm looking at that, I'm like, oh wow, this is so ridiculous. Yeah, of course he's got a few little things in him. But then I also think of this, the interview about Van Dijk, I think I mentioned it before, where someone was trying to find a club in England for Virgil van Dijk. And he was like available for 10 million quid and no one would buy him because he made mistakes. And this guy was just like, he was bored. He was playing in Scotland. There was no challenge for him. He was bored and he would make mistakes. And I look at Romero sometimes and like concentration mistakes. And I do look at it and think, I think he's just, when he's not in the game as much, he's a bit like, maybe I'll just, because you see him sometimes just suddenly arrive like a midfielder. Like every now and again he'll do that and I'm like, cutie, why are you there?
Arrive as a midfielder, arrive as a striker.
Yeah, I know, but he has that look on his face of like, got bored, came up here. Yeah, what's going on, guys? Let me have a crack.
But I know. Look, I know I wax lyrical about him all the time, right? And I understand what you're saying about tapering the enthusiasm, right? I get that, right? I don't. To be honest, I don't care, man. I'm just gonna wax lyrical about this.
No, go for it.
Right, but he is so assured, so confident, and do you know what? So where I sit, I don't know if I've mentioned it before. So to my left, there's like a group of 7 or 8 people that all know each other, and I think they all met because they're season ticket holders. I think they said they've been season ticket holders for about 7 or 8 years, and they just all swap over their seats. So they've got that row of 7, and then different people or come at different times, And honestly, one of the guy that was sitting next to me at the Leicester game, I think he was his 2 nephews, and one of them was an Everton fan. But to be fair, he wasn't like, he wasn't trying to wind us up or anything. He said, I'm just here to watch a good game. Do you know what I mean? Like, really good guy, like really good guy to talk to. And he just would not stop talking about Romero. Like he said, I can't stop talking about the guy. And he's like, it's like he's just on a different planet. And he said, if you watch the game, this is towards the end of the game. He said, I can only remember this guy making one tackle. Do you remember that crunching tackle? I think it was in the second half, right right back position. I don't know who it was, but he just come crunching into someone. I know he obviously made those 2 tackles for our third goal, but he said that just isn't that just a mark of the guy that we can't stop talking about him, but he's only made 1 tackle, and that just proves how much he can read the game, like how much
his reading of the game is the thing that impresses me. It's like, him, because what he likes to do, he's aggressive, so he likes to, as the ball comes into play, he likes to get right up and try and intercept it. Every now and again, that's not going to work. Every now and again, that's going to go wrong, and we all just got to kind of accept it, I think, because the balance, the payoff when he gets it right is a goal, like where he did that double tackle straight in and won the ball. And the other thing is, he just is seamless. Like the amount of times he just takes the ball off people and then just calmly plays it. He's solid as hell.
Yes.
There is not one forward in the Premier League you don't know they've been up against him. You know, I saw like one of those interviews like Soccer AM style the other day with I can't think of who it is. It come to me. It was a Premier League forward, and he said, toughest defender you've played this season. He went Romero.
Really?
Yeah, he went Romero at Tottenham.
Wow.
It's like straight away, like a reflex.
Without even thinking.
Like when they used to ask Tottenham players who's the best player, and they'd all go Dembele.
Yeah.
Like it's not even a frigging doubt. The guy's a genius. It just, I thought straight away. I thought, well, I can imagine he's a nightmare to play against.
You know what you're saying about how seamless and calm he makes everything. So there's a memory. Did you watch the game?
Yeah.
In the first half, it would have been the first half, because they were Leicester attacking towards us in the south, and you know when the defender gets in front of the striker, and it's one of those ones where can he hold him off until the ball goes out of play, or is he going to kick it off for a throw? You know, he passes it. I don't even he passes it to a player, so he's got the attacking ahead of him. So most defenders will just panic and kick it for a corner or a throw in, and he passes it, and when he passes it to a player, our immediate thought was, why have you done that? You just played it to the middle of the pitch, and it's gonna, and it just defeats a Leicester player by about maybe 3 inches, and then lands on the feet of a Spurs player. And I'd like to believe that he deliberately made that pass, and it's like he had eyes in the back of his head. Is this guy just like it's almost like he's on a different planet to the rest of the players. It's insane.
He is great, but the best thing that I've noticed is he is better. And we are better with Dyer and him in the side together.
Yes.
And I think a lot of that is the organisation. I think Dyer is a fantastic organiser. In a back three, I've liked Eric Dyer for quite a long time, and he's liked me.
We was all singing that, funny enough, really loudly.
Good. I'm delighted to hear that because he deserves some love. He's like a consistent player in that team this season. He ain't grabbing headlines or anything like that, but he is just solid every week. Like, I don't remember Dyer having a bad game this season. I'm sure there have been before people scream at me, but I don't think I can't. There's a few players like Romero. I can think of a couple of bad games. Every player I can think of a couple of bad games. Eric Dyer just every week.
Consistent,
and I'm so thrilled for him that he's found his position. He's settled. He's happy. He's playing. Because, like I said, I really like him. But in a back three, he is a different defender to a back four. He organises, he's consistent. Ball comes in the box, Dyer's head's normally on it. But Romero with him, there seems to be this sort of, I don't know, it's definitely a tactic where one of them will go forward, because I see Ben Davies do it quite a lot as well, and sometimes Dyer will bring the ball forward, Romero will bring the ball forward, and the others will obviously stay back.
Yeah.
He seems to just orchestrate it. He seems to kind of be all over the place, but he also, whenever Romero gets the ball, Dyer moves to space. So Dyer is always expecting Romero to look for a pass rather than, like you said, hit it in the rosette. And that's been built up because they're obviously training together and playing together. It's only going to get better from here. Dyer's in his defending years prime right now. We got a good couple more years with Dyer being at a really good level. Romero, good amount of time at a really good level. I think we had... No disparity to Ben Davies, because I think he's served really well for us, this club, and this season. But you add in a player of Romero level again on the left side, wow.
Mate,
that's something else. Yeah, that is something else. And that's what they're looking to do. So, That is, for me anyway, a really, really quite exciting prospect when you look at that side. And it's like you're looking at the squad again, and you're looking at some of the same players that we've had for a number of years, but you're looking at it right now and you're going, okay, in this system, with these tactics, you add just a little bit, and all of a sudden, we're a bloody good side again.
Yeah, he's really shaping the team now, Conte, isn't he? He's shaping that team, you know?
Yeah.
And Bentancur, like you say, Bentancur and Kulusevski, they've just settled, haven't they? They're both been, it's like they've been there for years.
That I think that's probably the biggest compliment I can give Bentancur, is the fact that I genuinely feel like that bloke's been playing for us for years.
Yeah.
Like, I look at the team and he's picked, and you're just like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's always been picked.
It's Bentancur, yeah. I mean, he's been here since, Harry Kane came through the academy, surely.
Yeah,
he's been here since the 31st of January, so basically since February. You know, we've just entered May, so it's like, what?
3 months.
February, March, April, you know. The guy, he's brilliant, and he's the best player we've had in that. He is playing the way, and I hate saying this because I love him, but he is what Harry Winks should have been. And sorry, Harry, and also sorry to his family, because I know at least one of them listens. But I do love him. But just, I personally think if I was Harry Winks right now looking at that, you'd think, crap. You know, they've literally just gone and signed someone to do what I've been trying to do. There's, just as a side note, there's a lot of clubs interested in Winks this summer. I do think it's this summer we're going to say goodbye to Harry.
I can imagine him going to Fulham. I think that'd be a good, because it's London. He'll play week in, week out.
The team that I know I've got a real big interest in him that's coming up is Bournemouth. Scotty Parker really wants him.
Right.
You got to remember, Scotty Parker put together a coaching team of a lot of former academy coaches from Tottenham, including Cliff Jones's nephew, who as a coach is phenomenal, and Tottenham should do everything to get him back, by the way. But they're really interested, but Newcastle are interested in him because Newcastle are linked to every player ever. But yeah, the Southampton was another one. So there's going to be interest in Harry Winks this summer, and he is available. The player and the club are looking. So yeah, I think we're seeing the last. I'd like to see him get on the pitch, but with everything to play for the way it is, I just don't know where that's going to happen.
Well, if your dream comes true and we beat Arsenal, then we could probably play him.
Well, Liverpool is who we beat in my dream, which is still terrifying. I mean, the Leicester game, just to finish up on that, I was over the moon with the way we played. I was gutted they got a goal, but that can happen. You know, that was a bit kind of, he hit a shot in hope, and Lloris, I think, was half asleep.
Yeah, didn't expect it.
Yeah, because he made a hell of a save early in the game, Lloris. Like, everyone just like, oh, Leicester have hit the post. And then they showed this replay where it was actually Lloris put it onto the post.
I know, that was such a save, wasn't it?
I mean, you talk about his reaction speed, but to get down to do that, you know, if a shot's hit in the air and he reacts, you're kind of like, oh, wow, that was good.
Yeah.
But, God, he's not much younger than me, you know? I'm just kind of like, oh, no, it took me half hour to get back up from that. Oh, my knees, Hugo. Be careful with your knees, son. But yeah, that was impressive. So overall, I was delighted. Leicester, of course, did rest a number of players. I will say, by the way, there was a lot of stuff about the fact that Leicester rested players. I don't blame them for that. Look at where they are in the league. Look at, the position they're in. And they got a chance to lift the trophy in the Conference League. So you can't blame them. I did fully suspect West Ham to do the same thing, but they didn't. West Ham did actually field a fairly strong side to play Arsenal. I was quietly surprised by that. I was like, but then again, you look at the table and you realise, actually, no, West Ham aren't out of top table.
Yeah,
they are now.
Yeah.
But if they'd beaten Arsenal, they would have still had a shout. You know, so. And they're trying to finish as high as they possibly can. So, again, it kind of makes more sense that way. I think if Leicester were up 5th, 6th, I think they'd have gone, no, we got to go strong again. Guys, you got to play these games. But yeah, so I did see a lot of people talking about that. But yeah, you got to beat what's in front of you, and Leicester still put out a very strong side.
No, of course they did. They got a decent squad. I've got to ask you though, Sam. So, how was your reaction to the wonder goal from Sonny?
It was funny actually, and the reason why it was funny is because I don't know if you were aware of this in the stadium, but he was literally about to be subbed.
Yeah.
And someone had shouted to him like, next time the ball goes out of play. And so they showed this on a replay. He looks back, someone's saying to him like, he does that, that sub symbol, you're going to be subbed. He does a thumbs up, like, yeah, okay, that's great. And then picks up the ball and does that, right? He then looked back to the bench with the biggest sunny smile as he's walking back. And he had this look on his face of like, I'm on a hat-trick now. Please change your mind. Please change your mind. Please. Oh, like you saw his shoulders go like,
oh, bless you.
Oh, okay. And he like chugged it and Conte's laughing his head off. And Son's like, he's just like, no, you are coming off like we planned. You are coming off. We're resting you, And he's come off and he just sat there like a stupid grin on his face, like he's always got a grin on his face.
Yeah.
Conte's still killing himself. Like, so I don't know what he said to him when he came off. It was probably just like, oh, let me stay on. It's the equivalent of a kid, like, oh, come on, Dad, 10 more minutes. I can get another one. But yeah, that was. The funny thing as well is they were talking about he scored earlier with his left foot. And they said, he's now set a record for the number of goals in the Premier League with your weaker foot. And I'm like, I don't really think he has a weaker foot. I'm guessing at some point he was asked which is his stronger foot, and he said right. But like with Harry Kane, I don't see that he's got a weaker foot. And they were like, yeah, the last player to score 10 or more goals with their weaker foot in the Premier League was Harry Kane. And I'm like, well, of course it was.
Yeah.
And then he goes and does that again with his left foot, and it's like, weaker foot, my ass.
Weaker foot, is it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was some finish.
We obviously it was all the relief. Most of it's relief because at 2-1, you never know, do you? So that kind of that you're always going to really celebrate. And we've all obviously jumped in the air. I've looked at Seb and he's gone, Dad, I'm going to faint. Hold me.
Oh,
he went, I've just seen that guy in real life. Hold me, Dad, I'm going to faint. Like, he was cracking me up.
Hold me, Dad, I'm going to faint. What a hero.
It was like, because obviously it happened in the south, so we was right behind the goal. Well, not right behind the goal, but it's that our end,
Yeah,
and it's funny because when you watch him in real life, the ball never feels like it's going as fast as it does when you watch it on television.
No. It feels like you can watch the whole, like it
really
goes in.
And it's like it just flew, like it was insane. It was insane to watch it, and then when you watch the replays of it, it's like, yeah, incredible goal. Schmeichel was nowhere near it, and Schmeichel is no mug. He's no mug of a keeper, but he completely mugged him off of that goal, didn't he?
It was, yeah. When Sonny picks the ball up in those sort of areas, if you're a team and someone is not breaking their neck to close him down, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because he has the ability to because he uses defenders, he uses them to whip it around them.
Yeah.
I mean, just ask Man City. Man City still have nightmares about him in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Speaking of Man City in the Champions League, did you watch that game last night?
Did you know what? I watched it, and then about the 87th, 8th minute, I'm like, do you know what? I don't really have anything against Man City, but it's just that kind of.
Never turned it off.
No, I didn't. Listen.
Okay.
This is why. Technology nowadays I just recently swapped to Virgin, but they're the same as Sky. When you go onto TV Guide, it still shows in the bottom corner what you're watching, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I think for me it's the fact that I don't, because they're paid, it's the Grealish thing. It's like they just didn't need Grealish, but it's like what's 100 million to us? It's that horrible. They've just got so much money they don't know what to do with it, and so I sort of wanted to flick, and I was like, oh my god, they've scored. I'm like, this could be interesting. Back onto full screen, and I'm like, and then when the second goal went in, I mean, I know it was late, but I went up to Seb and I went, come watch the rest of the game with me. I said, you're gonna love this. And then when Benzema's got that penalty, I don't know. is it mean not to have sympathy for them?
No. Someone said to me yesterday, "So how could you not support the English team?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, mate, but it's Man City."
Yeah, it's like
City. It's like someone saying to me, "Oh, why didn't you support Chelsea?" When it's like, no, it's like supporting the evil.
Exactly,
yesterday was Star Wars Day. I'm not about to support the Empire. It doesn't happen. I know Real Madrid are on their own in that, and people in Spain probably hate them as much as I hate Man City, but there was something deeply amusing to me about poor old Kyle Walker still not being able to make a Champions League final when Moussa Sissoko did.
I love it.
I mean, that snaky bastard. He tell you what, it was only when he went off Real Madrid got in the game, to be fair. But now there's something about the fact that Man City can't make the Champions League final and we did that I'm still finding very amusing. It's cruel, it's not nice, but it's funny. They win stuff for fun, so I can laugh at them occasionally when they don't manage to make a final. I don't know about you, but I've watched Real Madrid in this tournament and they just seem to sort of keep fighting, stay in it, and just manage to get it through. I tell you what, though, and I know this is possibly an English bias thing because I watch them a lot more. I think Liverpool are going to destroy them. I look at it and I'm like, the Liverpool just relentless machine-like ability, because they played Villarreal and Villarreal managed to get a couple of goals. The atmosphere and everything in that stadium was nuts, and I'm like, Liverpool are in trouble here. Yeah. They're really in trouble. Like, this whole stadium's rocking. They've not looked good. And then they came out in the second half and just, like, clicked into their kind of, okay, no, we're Liverpool, this ain't going to happen. And just destroyed them. Yeah. Just, like, played them off the park. And I'm watching it, I'm like, how wonderful must it be for a fan to see your team just be able to go through the gears like that? But from my point of view, watching it, I'm like, they have now, by reaching the Champions League final, it means that this season they will play the maximum number of games that was available to them because they've reached the final in everything they've gone to. I like, as a football fan of Tottenham Hotspur, I can't imagine this. I'm like trying to put myself in that kind of fandom right now where I'm like, that must be kind of fun. That I wonder what that is like.
We can only dream, I think, mate, can't we?
Yeah, right now we can. Yeah,
I said if we are doing dreaming.
My only hope is that they are so knackered is that their next game they're like, oh, come on, lads, it's Tottenham, and we somehow managed to hype ourselves up. But we seem as a club to hate Man City so much, I think we're just going to roll over for Liverpool.
Yeah,
We've done the double over Man City this season.
That's insane, isn't it?
I know someone who's a Man City fan, and he does say to me, he said, no, we look at Tottenham on the fixture list. He said, we look for Man United, we look for Liverpool, and we look for Tottenham. We're like, ugh. Them again.
I think, do you know what?
And they hate Sonny.
He loves scoring. It's something like Leicester with Harry Kane, isn't it? I think he's like scored 17, was it 19 goals? That's ridiculous.
Did you read that stat? It's ridiculous. He scored 19 in like 17 games against them in the Premier League or something, or 17. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Do you know what? Before we go off this subject, just to save all the comments that are going to come in, because I did what you did, which is quite funny. Is Man City were in the Champions League final last season, weren't they? And you forget that, didn't you? You completely forget that.
They?
Yeah, it was Man City Chelsea, wasn't it? Do you remember? I completely forgot.
Oh, bloody hell, yeah. They were.
So he has made a Champions League final.
He has made a final.
But they lost it, which is a good thing.
Yeah, you know what? I genuinely forgot.
So had I.
That's COVID. There's like a couple of years that have gone by where I'm just like. Also, I think the fact Chelsea won it just meant my brain went nope.
No, of course. Do you know what is funny though? Because Seb's only 10, but he constantly corrects me on things. Like I was always the one that I thought I had the knowledge, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're right, you got a point. Like he lives, breathes football. I mean, he like last night. So obviously, like we watched the game, didn't watch to extra time, and Vicky, because Vicky's got a cold at the moment, she's sorry
to hear that.
Oh no, she's fine, but she's just when she's got like a cold, she snores. So she said, I'm going to go and sleep in the spare room tonight. So because he watched the football with me, I said, look, come up and just keep in our bed, mate. You know, like mummy's not there, and so I'm lying there. and he's talking about the football, talking about something. And I'm like, yeah, and I felt really bad because I'm not really listening. And I looked over and he's snoring, so he's falling asleep talking about football.
He was literally, yeah. To be fair, mate, a 10-year-old boy, vast majority of them are just football obsessed. And I can't remember years ago, someone did like this football quiz, and I remember him saying, if you want to do a football quiz in a pub, make sure someone brings their 10-year-old boy with them, because you'll rinse it. Yeah. Like, who was the African Players Player of the Year in 2009? And everyone goes, what? And the kid goes, oh yeah, that was George Weah's son. That was, and you're like, how do you know? How do you know that? It was on FIFA. Oh right, okay. Yeah,
do you know what he did though? And it was really lovely that he did it, but it kind of upset, and I told him it upset me, but he's got like a little TikTok account, and he did a little tribute to Delhi, and honestly, like the way he done it, like he put the music on and stuff, and he was just going back to when Delhi, like he put the Crystal Palace goal on and all that, you know. And I know we've talked about Delhi, and I know like obviously he's gone and all that, but I was like, Seb, that's really good, mate. You've done he went, I spent about an hour doing this, and I went, it's amazing, but you've really upset me because like I love Delhi, you know. And he's like, but yeah, he's just obsessed.
I genuinely thought that was good. My brain works in mysterious ways. You're like, oh, he spent an hour doing that. It really upset me. I was thinking it's going to be because you clearly didn't spend that much time on my Father's Day card, you little git. You know, the levels here. I can see a difference.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where's the effort from me? Yeah, but yeah, it's only because I think he put. What didn't he score against Real? Wasn't he one of the goal scorers for Real when we played Real Madrid at Wembley?
Yeah,
and I think he put that in his little cut as well. And I'm like, man, that was proper glory, Delhi, wasn't it?
It was proper glory. I know. That was we destroyed Real Madrid.
I know. We'll get back there.
For everyone, is it, Man City?
We'll get back there. We'll get back there.
But it is time now to head across to our social media, because other people other than me and you have things they want to talk about. So let us hear what they are, and then we can mock them. I mean, talk about them.
Now it's time for your comments from our social media.
Facebook or Instagram, dear boy?
What did we do last week? Can you remember?
No. I can barely remember what I had for breakfast, and that was only a few hours ago.
I always think we're better off starting with Instagram. I think that feels like the natural format.
Yeah, well, it means we start with lovely Laura's the main, so that's always good. We kick off with a question from... Oh, Jesus, how the hell am I supposed to pronounce that?
See, that's why I like Instagram first, because it just gives...
Jackass. Right, Nozlevo. Nozlevo.
Have you presumed that person's Spanish? I mean,
Nozlevo. Depending on the accent I use, I can make that anything.
Exactly.
Like, you know, Eastern European. Nozlevo. Anyway, Noz to his mates.
Noz to his mates, or Lego to the people who don't know.
Yeah, or Lezo to the ladies. Talks about Emerson. Oh, God, I'm going to get cancelled again. Talk about Emerson. We need a new right wing back with Doherty. It's funny that you say with Doherty. A few months ago, we need right wing backs. You know, badly.
Just not Doherty or
just get us upgraded.
Get us two right backs, please.
I think it's safe to say that Doherty has done enough where we as a club now feel that as a wing back, you're worth keeping around. The thing to remember as well is he is qualified as homegrown because he came through the Wolves Academy, even though he is a Republic of Ireland player. So, much like those fun rules where Eric Dyer is an England player but is not classed as homegrown because he came through an academy in Portugal, annoyingly. So, it's one of those things, but it's well worth keeping him there. He has shown enough, I think, to justify that. Would I like to see us sign a player to replace Emerson Royale? Absolutely, I would. I'd like to see Emerson Royale leave. I think go back to Spain. I think he is a player that perhaps suits Spanish football, the lifestyle, the style there, and doesn't suit the English Premier League. We've seen that with... you only got to look at Lo Celso. Lo Celso for Villarreal is... just a phenomenal football player. For us, he was bang average. One or two glimpses of genius does not a footballer make. I just think with Emerson Royale, and I think that is a. We talk about backing the manager. a lot. And I think people often think of that in the context of signings and spending money. I think backing the manager goes beyond that to also clearing players when the manager doesn't want them. And I think when you look at what Paratici has done with just getting people out the door, even if it's just on loan, just getting them away from the club. The Delhi deal, for example, that was free. In essence, just get him gone because we need to clear these players out so the manager can focus on the ones who want to be there. That is backing the manager. That is supporting him, that is backing him. And I think, again, in this summer, to continue that, if Conte, is committed and the club have got a clear vision on what they're going to do, I think Emerson Royale needs to leave, and I think the club does need a new right wing-back. Who that should be, man, that's a debate. I mean, I know who I'd like us to go for, but I don't know. I'd like to see us go for Lamptey.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. He played well against us, didn't he, as well?
He did. He always does. I mean, he's a London boy. He came through the Chelsea Academy. Like I said this the other week about Michael Lavinia and how, Chelsea released him. We grabbed him straight away. And people were kind of like, well, why would we sign a player that's been released? It's like, well, when you look at the right side that they had, they had just so much talent there. And, Lamptey was another one that they let go, and now he's a 30 to 40 million pound rated player. I do think he's worth it. I do think because he's still got 10 years plus at the top level and will only get better. With a manager like Conte, he can easily transit, because currently he transitions between right back and right wing back depending on the system they're playing. So you look at him and you look at his fitness levels and stuff, and you can see him getting forward. And I do have that vision in my mind of Sessegnon and him being wing backs and looking at it thinking that is really exciting. And
that's one, like you say, that's one for a few years as well. They're not coming to the end of their careers. They're they're in the spring of their careers.
They are still at that point. The one thing I see a lot of people talk about this because Sessegnon's obviously had the injury issues and he's had that. Whenever I see this a lot, and I experienced it in a minor way myself. When you've had a serious injury, when you come back, you often get a run of not as serious, but just like continual sort of thing, which I guess is just a case of you go from rehabbing one thing to right, okay, I'm back. Oh no, wait a minute, this is now gone, or this now hurts, and also I think your confidence in. I think that's a strain, I'm going to stop now. Whereas in the past, you might have gone, that tweaked a bit, never mind.
Yeah.
You now go, no, I don't want that to go again, I'm stopping. And that kind of happens, but that kind of phase does stop. You do, with time, more work and confidence, that does end. And I think Sessegnon is starting to come out the other end of that, I really do. And Lamptey, you've seen this season, they've really managed him well after a serious injury. Sort of minutes here, minutes there, and now he's back playing consistently, and the kid looks like he's not missed a beat. To me, that's a real tick in the kind of mentality column. A real tick towards that's that kid's past that massive obstacle early in his career. So for me, that would be my number one target. I think it satisfies English homegrown rules. It gives us 10 years of having a top quality player. Like I said, he's a London boy as well, so getting him back, it just, everything about that deal makes sense.
You're right, yeah.
Whether that's where we go, I don't know. Because it's going to cost. That club sold Ben White to Arsenal for 40 million quid. Anyone who shows up to ask about Lamptey is going to get quoted the same. Because that's the market rate. If they got 40 million for Ben White, they're right to be asking the same. For me, and this is a thing that's, again, backing the manager, but as a club, you spend 40 million on a player that you're going to have in the side potentially for 10 years. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, of course.
It's not. I remember when Everton paid 30 million for Pickford, and people were going, 30 million for a relegated, he's young, but and I looked at this, went, he's going to be their goalkeeper potentially for 10 to 15 years. 30 million's a snip. By the time he retires, they're probably going to have to pay quadruple that to replace him. And then you look around at how much Liverpool have paid for a goalkeeper, how much Chelsea paid for 2 different goalkeepers. You know, you're 70, 80 million each. Man City as well. And you suddenly realise, well, hang on a minute, they signed the England #1 keeper, homegrown, and they got him for 30 million. They got a bargain.
Yeah, and it all makes sense, doesn't it?
It does. And so, again, it's looking at these things. Our budget and our ability to make these signings, of course, are going to be massively impacted by where we finish. But that for me, yes, I definitely think Emerson Royale needs replacing. But that is who my personal choice. I mean, do you have any sort... I mean, I'm guessing you agree Royale to go. But what do you think around sort of replacing him?
Yeah, it hadn't really occurred to me with Lamptey, but thinking about it, yeah, you've made a case for it just making perfect sense. I think it'd be fantastic, and like I said, I hate to say it, but you know, he always seems to really play well when he plays against us, and I've just been impressed by him. Do you know what I mean? He looks dangerous, really dangerous, and can
really
put a ball in.
He has the ability to whip a great ball in, which Gary Neville on commentary the other day, someone said to him, "Oh, you know, Gary, you were always good at that," and he went, "Not to this level. He was not to this consistency." He said he was talking about Reece James at Chelsea, and he was like him, Lamptey, Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's like, these young kids now at right back, right wing back are just, you know, on another level. And he's right, you know, they really are. You know, they're crossing ability like some of the absolute peak wingers of my youth, but they're a fullback. It's mad. We now have a question from a man with his own theme. Thundering down from on high, it's a comment from Mountain Man. Can't beat the Mountain Man.
Nope.
There's something wakes you up, you know, hearing the Mountain Man. For everyone who's emailed, by the way, and this has happened because a certain jerk I do a podcast with, yes, Matthew, I'm talking to you, mentioned that, hey, you know, maybe a few other people would like their own themes. For everybody who's emailed, giving me various screen name ideas that you've got that you'd like me to make a theme from, you're all filthy buggers, and you need to stop. Seriously. Unbelievable. Like, yeah, my Instagram name is Biggest Dickus, and I'd like you to, alright.
Go away.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes. But anyway, the Mountain Man with a proper name.
Yes.
He says, what's going to happen to Ndombele come the end of his loan spell? I can tell you what I'd like to happen.
Yeah, he's coming back, isn't he?
I can tell you what my fear is. So he started well at Lyon. Lyon fans really happy to have him back. He seemed happy playing there. It would appear that Lyon have said, no, we've got no interest in completing this permanent signing. I worry about that. And I think the reason why I worry about that is because if going back to the club he was happy at, playing in France, which with the greatest respect isn't as physical and as fast as the Premier League, he still can't seem to find his love, find his level, find his kind of position and be happy and look like a player that everyone goes, oh, there he is, that's the guy, that's the one we saw a couple of seasons ago. It's a real possibility he's just lost it, which does happen. There are some players, sometimes you watch come like emerge and be brilliant, and then all of a sudden, nope. And you're like, oh hell. I know via this is going to sound so bad now, via various sources, no, just via people who have a very good insight, journalists and stuff, there seems to be a plan at the club. Like, there is kind of like, plan A is that Lyon want to keep hold of him. That might consist of him on paper returning and a new loan deal being agreed.
Okay.
That is one scenario, because Lyon can't afford to pay the price that's built into the contract now. The other scenario is, of course, Tottenham still, because it's done on instalments, Tottenham still owe about 38 million, I think, on the fee that we paid for him. And we could basically just go, look, if you want him, just wipe that out.
Yeah.
You know, and you paid for him. The funny thing, and it's not funny, but it kind of is a bit funny, is that Lyon have already indicated. Because the thing about Lyon is their president talks to the press. Could you imagine Daniel Levy talking to the press about every single transfer rumour? Because the Lyon one does.
Oh, no way.
He really does. So you always know where you stand with them, because someone asked him recently about it, and he was just like, we're not paying that. He's like, no, Tottenham owe us that money, and we're taking that money. If we get him back, that's a different deal. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, he's basically laughing all the way to the bank. He's still getting paid all of that money. And they've even got the player back right now. I mean, he just must be... Yeah, I mean, Levy got Levy.
Levy got Levy. I love it.
But yeah, I mean, obviously there was a loan fee and stuff. But regardless, and they're paying his wages. Which, by the way, I find player wages to be one of the more interestingly misreported subjects in football. So everybody knows that Tanguy Ndombele is on 200 grand a week. And yet someone I know who's seen his contract because of their job, she's not on anywhere near that.
Right.
So it's kind of like, it's interesting to me. I wonder how they get it. I'm guessing those figures are including bonuses. Because Tottenham build contracts with a lot of incentive-based stuff. And it is like a game-by-game incentive. Because like Harry Kane, when he was on 90,000 a week, was earning nearly 200,000 a week. Because that guy was just smashing every target in his contract. And now he's on best part of 200 and something. He's smashing 300 grand a week. So it's kind of like someone says Harry Kane's on 300 grand a week. You go, oh, bloody hell, Tottenham's pay structure has changed.
Yeah, it's not his base pay, is it? Yeah.
No, you know, so at the start of the season, he weren't earning anywhere near what he is now. Good.
Can they have put like some kind of attitude bonus in Ndombele's contract? That would have helped, wouldn't it?
Could you imagine? Yeah, every time you sulk, we deduct this. Every time you
take 10 minutes to get off the pitch when you substituted when you were losing.
Every time someone sees you with a Mars bar after training. No, anyway, no, that's not a joke I should make. I love a Mars bar, but yeah, do you remember Paul Gascoigne when everyone used to call him fat all the time, and then he started advertising Mars bars and made a load of money out of it?
Yeah, they used to throw them at him in the games, didn't they?
Yeah, and so he did a deal with them and advertised them on the telly. I mean, there's something about Gaza which is very broken, but there's something about that man that I love to this day and will always love, and his ability to take that. It also reminds me, you know, you won't know this, but some people listening might. In rugby, referees have sponsors on their shirts now.
Yeah,
and they were sponsored by Specsavers.
Yeah, I did see that.
I still think
Seb laughed when we saw that on TV.
Yeah,
Look at the referee's got his shit.
I know. I still, to this day, I'm like, the referee sponsored by Specsavers was like a joke. What are you? And they did it. And I just think to myself, whoever did that deal, well done.
Legend.
You know, because fair play. But anyway, so to finish it off, Ndombele at the moment is not going to complete a permanent move to Lyon. The club are putting various plans in place, and he is being touted around by his agents again to try and find him a home. There doesn't appear to be any future at Tottenham. Like Conte was just done with him.
Good.
But of course, things can change. So
we shall see.
Well, you know, things can change, managers can change, which would really suck. Over on to the good book of face, we only have the one comment.
Oh,
it's from Step-in Super Sub Stefan himself, who has worded a comment. I think he's been clever here. Now, me and Stefan host another podcast where we talk about films and stuff, and one of the big films coming out is Doctor Strange 2: The Multiverse of Madness. I don't know if you're into your comic book films, mate, so this might be completely
me and Seb have already pre-booked our tickets.
Hey, well, there you go. So you know all about this then. So he has said, Spursy-verse of Madness. Week to week, I swear, we see a different variant of our club. Brighton, Brentford, Leicester. Which variant will play Liverpool? So in a very comic booky style, I think he's basically said we've famine or feast. We've either been really poor or really good recently. Who's going to show up against Liverpool? My hope is that we are amazing and we beat them 4-2. And
you're sticking with your dream, Sam, aren't you?
Therefore, the bet I put on after I woke up will come true. The odds I got for that were just next level, by the way. I think my £5 bet on us winning 4-2, Kane and Son scoring, I only put that they at least got one each. I think my £5 gets me like £3,000.
Really? I'm putting one. What?
So basically, the bookies looked at my bet and went, "Oh mate, just keep the fiver.
You keep the fiver.
You know,
don't waste your money.
Don't give it to us. You know, like you get that thing on any betting app. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Like, have you really thought about this? I swear I had 10 of them. Where the app just kept going. Now look, for the 5th time, are you all right? Are you sober right now? Do you want to ring someone to chat about this? You know, like, I'm half expecting to get a phone call from an Irish guy. Hey, look, this is Paddy Power. Are you sure you're right with that bet, my friend?
Give the £5 back.
Yeah, look, I'd give you the favour myself. You know, it's like, no, I want to put the bet on.
Please let me.
Yeah, please let me do it. Oh no, my baby's milk money. No, okay. So yeah, to answer that, my friend, I don't know, and it is a little bit like that. I do like the team that played Brighton and Brentford. If they show up against Liverpool, it's gonna be really bad.
Yeah, but do you know? I get what you're saying, and I like the way Stefan's worded that. It's very clever.
Yeah.
I get what he's saying. I do get what he's saying. The whole thing. I would just say that a bit like with Arsenal, we seem. I mean, there are exceptions. I appreciate that. We seem to raise our game against the bigger clubs. So
we do.
My recent memory is beating Man City 3-2 at the Etihad, the 2-2 draw at Liverpool at our ground, which was a fantastic.
We should have won.
Yeah, we should have.
I really stand by the fact I think we should have won that game.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to class West Ham as a big team, but they're doing pretty well in the league, and that. So you wouldn't class them as an average team at the moment. We destroyed them at our ground as well, you know. So we raised so the important ones, the bigger clubs. You know, I feel like we raise our game, and don't get me wrong. With Liverpool, you get the feeling no matter how much you raise your game, it might not ever be enough. I do. I feel like they have to have an off day as well as us raising our game to the level.
I did point out that they would need to basically be asleep.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. They're a bit frigging good right now. You sort of just look at them and they're machine-like.
Yeah, they're just so well, like you say, they're so well drilled, and that's where Conte wants to get us to, doesn't he? He wants to get us to that level.
Yeah,
you know?
and he even used the Klopp analogy of, you know, he didn't walk in and they became that. You know, it was a work. I did say this on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. My friend in the USA, Delaware, his son Kian, he is really into his football or soccer now, and he's picked Liverpool, like, despite everything I tried. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, if you're brand new to the game and you've just got into it and you're like, wow, I really enjoy watching this game, and you were watching the Premier League, which, by the way, they can just watch in abundance there. Like, every weekend it's just like every game's on. I'm like, seriously, it's ridiculous. But he has watched and has decided, to be fair, if you were just this season, you just came to football, you're really enjoying it, like, oh, this is great, who would you pick? It's like, it is really difficult for me to argue with him. And then, of course, he's done his research. He's like, well, they've got an amazing history, you know, they're one of the top clubs. I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's all right. Shut up. I mean, I equated it to supporting the Empire. Like, come on, don't support the Empire. Be with the Rebel Alliance.
I like it.
Then I'm, I'm a Star Wars nerd, and So one of the things people emailed in. They really liked that me and you made a points prediction, and they want me to keep that up every week with keeping it up to date. So last week you said of the 15 available, we would get 13.
Yes.
And I said 10.
Yes.
So, of course, this week then, we did win that game. So now your prediction becomes 10 in 12, and mine is 7 in 12. Assuming you're happy to keep that, you're still happy.
Yeah, I genuinely think we could get a draw at the weekend. I feel like a draw is possible. You know.
Well, The thing is with Tottenham is you never know. You know, you could go and beat Liverpool at Anfield and then lose to some crap at home like
Burnley.
Burnley. Sorry,
sorry, mate. I've ruined your joke then, didn't I?
No, it's fine. It's fine. You brought in the realism. But no, it's true though. We got 4 games left. Liverpool away, Arsenal at home, Burnley at home, Norwich away. You look at that and you go, "Oh, defeat, draw, win-win," wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know, you look at that. If you were going to be negative, defeat, draw, win-win, that those are the ones you'd sort of say. Tottenham, massive win, thumping loss to Burnley,
and draw
go to Norwich on the last day and lose 5-1. Yeah. Because someone reminded me the last time we went away to a team that had already been relegated, we were battling Arsenal for a position in the league, and it was Newcastle who'd been relegated, and we went to them, and Sissoko scored 2 or 3 against us, and we lost 5-1.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a reminder I needed. But anyway, we do have, like I said, so the prediction rolls on. You've got 10 out of 12. I've got 7 out of 12 of the points remaining. We do... the thing is I think Arsenal are looking at us and thinking we'll lose to Liverpool. I think if we somehow, even if we draw, I think we need to win, ideally. For it to be in our own hands, we have to win.
We have to win, yeah.
We have to
Unless
win.
Arsenal lose to Leeds.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it, does it?
But they say they didn't seem like they'd lose to Southampton, and they did, recently. So
no, you're right. You're absolutely right. Every game, is different. So yeah, we play Liverpool. My hope is that we really show up and we show that we as a group, as a team under Conte, want to do something. And it could be a real benchmark moment for us.
We got the players, Sam. We got the players. We have got the players.
We've got it. We've definitely got it. We got the right people. It just, I do keep saying it, and I do mean it. And Liverpool are just a machine right now. Yeah. And you look at them, and you're like you said, they'd have to have a bad day. We'd have to have a good day, and then maybe we'd win.
Yeah,
that's
really
kind of the levels. That's the levels where it is, but that can happen. So football's crazy. So fingers crossed. Because, of course, if Liverpool do beat Tottenham, little Keane's going to give me no end of grief. I could do without that. So, been a fan for all of 6 weeks, but he's already to banter the crap out of me. So that is it, everybody. Liverpool's next. Then it's the that other mob from Woolwich. And then, of course, it's the running. These next 2 games, for me, feel like the massive sort of games coming up, and then Burnley and Norwich. I hope we've still got a lot to play for.
Yeah.
Potentially could just be dead rubbers, which sucks. But let's hope that we can go and get something at Liverpool. And then then is still very much in our own hands. But yeah, that's our show. We'll be back next week. I hope everyone has a really good time. Hopefully we do get a result. Stay safe, everyone, and take care.
Take care, mate.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Stay up to date with all things Tottenham. Follow us on social media. All links are in the podcast description.